So welcome to today's discussion on how to revolutionize your endurance training through principles of periodization. Whether you're a seasoned ultra runner or just starting out with trail running, understanding these concepts can significantly boost your performance and keep injuries at bay. So let's begin with the concept of periodization. This is a training philosophy that was meticulously crafted by Tudor Bompa and other Eastern Bloc coaches during the Cold War era. They were aiming to win Olympic medals by optimizing training cycles. So the core idea of periodization is to systematically change the focus and workload of your training to maximize gains from both overload and a recovery standpoint. Imagine training being like a book. Each year you add a chapter or a cycle that focus on different aspects like building endurance, strength training, power, or peaking for a competition, ensuring that you're always ready, that you're always adapting, getting better, but never stagnating. Now let's dive into what is called intervals. Interval training, my favorite, which has its roots tracing back to the 1930s with Waldemar Gerschler. He took the Swedish concept of the fartlek, which we all love that word here in America, which means speed play, and structured it into what we now recognize as interval training. This method involves alternating high intensity bursts with recovery periods, allowing athletes to work harder than they could with one long continuous training run, thereby enhancing their aerobic capacity and speed. And to understand how this fits into periodization, you need to consider the 5 workout components you can manipulate in training. First, intensity. This is how hard you're pushing yourself. Running, where precise measurement like power meters in cycling isn't always available. We rely on rate of perceived exertion, or RPE. This intensity dictates whether you're working on your aerobic endurance or even your VO2 max. Next, it's volume. This isn't about how far you run, but how much time you spend at a specific intensity. For example, if your goal is to improve your lactate threshold, you might break a 60-minute session into 10-minute intervals with recovery between, allowing you to accumulate more time at intensity, which is important, than you could in just one continuous effort. Frequency and repetition. So how often do you do these workouts? How many times you repeat each exercise within a session? These things can dramatically affect your training outcomes. It's not just about doing more, it's about doing it right with enough recovery to ensure each session is high quality. And then there's the environment, and I'm not talking about how beautiful it is outside. And this is about where and how you run. Running uphill can stimulate race conditions, increase your workload, or even protect you against injuries by changing the impact dynamics. Running on trail, perfect. Even a treadmill can offer controlled, repeatable conditions to work on pace or motivation. Sometimes it's hard getting it in, and that's where the only place you can't. So, running cadence, stride rate. While we naturally find an economical stride to climb over this, changing can be beneficial in ultra running, where adapting to different terrains like that or conserving energy over a long distance is extremely key. A shorter, quicker stride rate might spare your legs. We do that in ultras, through the tougher parts. So now, how do you put all of this into practice? Well, you start by assessing your current fitness level and your goals. So if you're training for a hilly race, incorporate more uphill intervals. Makes sense. And if you're working on your speed, focus more on shorter, faster efforts with intervals than full recovery. Remember, the beauty of this system is just, it's about flexibility, and you can tailor each session to meet your body's needs at the moment and adapting your training as needed to progress, or as your schedule allows. You can make these changes. You need to be flexible. However, one thing to keep in mind is you need recovery. Do not forget recovery. You need this climb. That's fun. Very timely. So, training too hard without rest can lead to overtraining. I see it time and time again with runners. Periodization inherently includes recovery cycles so that your body can adapt without breaking down. So as you plan your training, think of it as an art and not a science. Don't be so dogmatic. Each workout is a brushstroke on the canvas of your athletic journey. Take it easy on yourself. And with periodization and interval training, you're not just running, you're strategically planning a path to peak performance. So now let's talk about how we can implement these training principles. For instance, let's say you have an upcoming trail race with significant elevation changes. Here's how you could structure a week of training with periodization in mind. So Monday, it's recovery or active recovery, maybe a gentle ride on the bike, yoga session to keep the muscles loose and moving and getting the blood flowing, everything going through them. Tuesday, interval training. You want to do your interval uphill workout, mimic race conditions. Start with 4 to 6 intervals or 2 to 3 minutes at pace so that it's challenging but sustainable. And with 3 minutes of easy jogging or walking in between for recovery. Wednesday, you might take a longer steady state run and at a conversational pace and build that aerobic base, that aerobic endurance. If you can, include some natural hill climbs to work on your climbing. You got to work on the things, race-specific type stuff. You want to work on your technique and stamina. Thursday, strength training. It's a strength training day. You need to be strong, especially if you're in middle age. You need to focus on exercise that support running, like squats, lunges, the core workouts, which I really need. This helps with injury prevention and boosting running economy. Friday, another session of intervals. But this time, change it up a little bit. Maybe do some shorter, faster intervals on flat ground to work on speed or sprints if you're looking to increase your top end speed. Saturday, long run day. This is where you put together the week's work, run along, but keep the intensity low. If your race has technical sessions, try to include something very similar in your long run. And Sunday, rest or light activity. This is crucial unless you're going to do back-to-back long runs, but we're not incorporating that right now. You want to use this day for recovery and allowing your body to adapt to the week's hard training. And by cycling through these types of sessions, you're not just training harder, you're training smarter. Each week, you can adjust the intensity, the volume, and focus based on your feedback that you're getting from your workouts. For example, if you feel particularly fatigued, you may want to rest. You may want to reduce the amount of volume that you're accumulating and you lower the mileage on your long run and the intensity of your intervals. You got to be able to adjust, to adapt. And remember, listening to your body is key. And if you feel like you're on the verge of overtraining, don't do it. It may be time to extend your recovery phase or reduce the intensity of your workouts. Moreover, consider the annual plan. Back up a little bit, open the aperture. Periodization isn't just about week to week. It's about your complete training plan across all the months. You may have a base phase where you focus on long, slow distance, followed by a build phase where you introduce more intensity, and then a peak phase where you fine-tune everything for race day. And finally, recovery phase, my favorite phase. You want to do this, man, it's windy out here, and prepare for the next cycle. Lastly, engage with your community or coach. Reach out to me and share your experiences and ask for feedback, or even join a session where you can learn from others their approach to periodization and interval training. Running isn't just about being a physical endeavor. It is a community learning experience. So go out there, apply these principles, keep pushing your limits while respecting the body's need for rest and recovery. I'll see you out here on the trails. It's a beautiful one today. Take care. See you next time.